Welcome to Tenacity with Sonia C, the podcast where entrepreneurs, founders, and ambitious professionals come to learn from those who have walked the path, navigating challenges and achieving success. Whether it's thriving in business, pivoting, scaling for growth, fundraising, or finding work-life balance, dealing with loneliness, adversity, or overcoming personal struggles. Our guests share the insights and strategies that have empowered them to level up. I'm your host, Sonia, and let's get started. My guest today is Mona Bavar, a cultural innovator and founder redefining how we connect, create, and communicate in a tech-driven world. Through her company, BlueApples.ai, Mona helps entrepreneurs and creatives harness the power of AI in a way that amplifies, not replaces, human creativity. She's also the founder of DLISH, a luxury gifting brand that turns storytelling into a multi-sensory experience across cultures. In this episode, we dive into how Mona blends ancient wisdom with cutting edge technology, how storytelling is evolving in the age of automation, and what it really means to create something unforgettable. Hi, Mona. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sonia. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. I'm always excited to get into these conversations and learn a little bit about your journey and where you're at now, and hopefully get some lessons out of it.
I hope so. And I hope to get some things from you too as well.
Of course you will. We'll get from each other for sure. So let's get right into it. You often talk about the space between things, where credibility, technology, and intuition intersect. Can you describe a moment in your life or career when you first realized the power of that intersection?
Wow. You got right into it.
We're starting out strong.
I love it. Um, y- I don't know that there's one particular moment that I can say because I think when intersections come together, you're living each piece of it before you can
Mm,
finally have that intersection, if you will. So I can tell you that, for example, this the way we're living today and the way that I've done my journey as an entrepreneur has always been trying to be authentic to myself,
mm,
authentic to the person that I am, and the reason why I decided to pursue this field. Before this, I was in finance and investment banking, and it's completely two different worlds to what I'm doing today, which is a gifting company around food, art, and design. And I would have never thought this. So I think it comes from that balance of bringing in the learned
mm-hmm,
aspect of life and then the creative aspect of life, which we all have. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with my brother today, and he was saying to me, we all as children have this imagination that
mm,
is limitless and we'll play and we'll be so abstract. And as we get older, we put up these barriers and the whole journey becomes about breaking down these barriers again. So I think
yeah.
that intersection is when you find that flow that says, you know what, I've taken the routes and then finally I've arrived here where all these different pieces that maybe in a realistic pragmatic world we say shouldn't come together, but in
Mm-hmm.
our abstract imaginative world we say they absolutely should come together and they make this beautiful mosaic, let's say.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, and this is not in my questions, but I just want to sort of put it out there, and you can tell me what you think. Um, is adulthood where imagination goes to die?
So sad.
Because you said it right. As children, we dream, we play, we have imaginary friends. We have this boundless imagination, and we can create stories in our head. And then as adults, that sort of dies a little bit, or does it? Or does life just get in the way that we block that creativity out?
I think life gets in the way, and I think fear gets in the way because
Mm,
for us to be creative, we go to school, go to work, we do everything, we start to live the life that we're programmed to say that this is the life that we should be living, for good or for
Mm,
bad. There's no judgment here. But
right.
then at a certain point, we start to feel this discomfort, and in our own comfort zones, we're uncomfortable. And
Mm,
so I think that's where our imagination is saying, listen, I'm still here. Our creativity is saying, listen, use me.
yeah.
And it's not that just because you've become an adult, or just because you've gone to work, or you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, you have children, you have a relationship, you have this, you have that, mortgage, insurance payments, all this. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that life is over. What it actually means is maybe it can even get more beautiful, because you can start tapping into parts of yourselves that, if you remember, uh, it gave you what you are today. So
Mm,
yeah, unfortunately, we can say that that's where imagination goes to, instead of die, maybe we say hibernate.
yeah.
Now we're entering spring, and so it's time for us to say, you know what? It's time for you to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many ways of doing that, and I think that we're fortunate enough to live in a time where there's so many options. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, this is a double-edged sword, but there's so many options, there's so many opportunities for us to actually take time to explore our creativity. And
Yeah.
for me personally, I never thought I was a creative person until, if you can imagine, AI came into my life. So
Yeah.
would have ever thought that artificial intelligence is going to teach me that, you know what, Mona, you're creative. Don't forget that.
Yeah. 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 I love that. So let's talk a little bit about you built BlueApple.ai, and it's built around using AI to expand creativity rather than replace it. What inspired you to start this company, and how did you know there was a need for it in this kind of approach?
So, Blue Apples is an AI consultancy that I started together with a couple of my entrepreneurial friends as well, because we were using AI for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I have another company called DLISH, which is a gifting company. And fortunately, it started in a period where AI wasn't around. So I had to learn, and I had to
Mm-hmm.
understand why I was doing this. And then that's where your brand story comes out, and you understand your why. And so you can
Mm-hmm.
communicate it and do all the stuff that you have to do. AI comes into this picture. Like, I think it was maybe 2.5 years ago that I started to use it. Everybody was talking about ChatGPT, ChatGPT. So I sat down in front of ChatGPT and said, what is this all about? Let me
Mm-hmm.
explore it. And in this exploration, I realized that there are so many ways of using it that can help me become more efficient. It can help me become creative. I never thought I
Mm-hmm.
was a creative person. I come from finance, I did an MBA. I always lived in this square where everything had to make sense. And then you think, okay, creativity means, oh, you're not doing any of that stuff. But we forget that the word to create can apply to anything. And it
Mm.
actually does. Even an accountant that sits and does the books for a company is creating. So
Yeah.
it's just how much are you willing to. And so with ChatGPT, for example, I started to ask for ideas. I started to explore different ways of improving my business, Delish. We're always curating gift boxes, or we have corporate clients, and it's about coming up with ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
so you start to gain this momentum of always ideas, ideas, and then the execution. But then one thing I found as ChatGPT grew and companies started to use it more and more is that everybody's becoming generic.
Mm.
So that is where the pitfall is, had started being last year and is growing even today.
Yeah.
So 4 billion content was created last year, and it's predicted to reach 10 billion this year. That's a lot of content. And you
Yeah.
imagine that if you're not resonating with your target audience, your competitor is. And so when the competitor is, you're going to be lost. And
Yeah.
so companies that were thriving before AI might start to see a decline. And that
Yeah.
decline isn't necessarily because you're doing anything differently. It's just that your competitors are learning how to do it, and you're all on the same path. rather than saying,
Yeah.
you know what, yes, I'm going to use AI, but I'm going to use it with my human touch. And that's what our
Mm-hmm.
consultancy is about. And that's how I came to it, saying that, you know what, let me come together with friends and use it and let help other businesses use it in a way that enhances or amplifies their brand rather than suppressing it.
Mm-hmm. So, in a world where AI sparks fear and resistance, even though it is getting more popular, how do you help your clients embrace it as a tool for deeper storytelling and authentic branding?
So that's a great question, by the way. I think the first and foremost important thing to do is take the time without an
Mm-hmm.
AI to understand why you decided to do what you do. So
Yeah.
you're doing a podcast right now. There was a reason why you decided to do that. You are an entrepreneur. There's a reason why you decided to start the business. I'm a gifting company around food and design. I told you I come from finance, but when I was 50 years old, after being in having had my company for about 3 years already, I realized my why had everything to do with the fact that I was an immigrant to the United States and the table became my safe haven. And
Mm.
so here I am curating gift boxes around food and design because my mother's table and my father's stories were my lifeline from
Mm-hmm.
not just me, but me and my siblings. And so when you put all of this together, you say, wow, this is why I started this. It wasn't some random idea that I said, oh, I'm going to make money from it. And
Mm-hmm.
then you communicate better. You become more confident. Your business starts to show itself because it has a soul. And
Yeah.
so even any kind of content, any kind of communication strategy, any kind of marketing, any kind of everything starts to have meaning. And I was fortunate, and I always say this, my generation has been fortunate that we had to use encyclopedias, we had to go to the library, we had to actually do the work, the research. We had to put effort in. So there
Yeah.
you already start to get creative. You start to find ways of reaching your goal in a more effective, efficient way. And so this is how I don't find fear in it. For me, it says it gave me a new version of myself, or it helped me reclaim that hybrid
Mm.
imagination that was dormant for so many years and say, you know what, bring it out. And so now I think this can be the case with everyone. If you
Mm.
just sit down and have fun with it and say, you know what, let me just ask random questions. Let me use it for hypotheticals. Let me become so abstract. There was a talk I was listening to, and I forget the person who was giving the speech, but it was talking about how we're afraid to dream.
Mm.
Because as kids, it's very possible to say, yes, I'm going to grow a tree that gives lemons and apples at the same time, for example, because your imagination has no limitations. But as we get older, we say, oh no, it has to be this way. So you almost become afraid to dream. And I
Yeah.
think AI is saying, you know what? It's so new, it's so vast. No one knows what you can do with it. No one knows the possibilities. I mean, it's still in development. And so why not get in
Mm-hmm.
there before
Yeah.
the waves start to become so huge and it becomes an ocean and you're lost in it? Get in there and have fun. And so I
Yeah.
think that's where um, if we just change our perspective a little bit, we change that fear into maybe excitement.
Yeah. I I feel like I get what you're saying right now because for me, I'm at the phase right now where with AI where I'm excited. I'm not 100% reliant. I mean, I can't remember the last time I didn't use AI for something that I did, to be honest. Like I'm so reliant on it in a way, but it's not like I can't do things without it. I use it more just to see what are the possibilities of what I'm doing. Can I expand it somehow? Is there something that I should have thought about that maybe I didn't, and this will help me enhance it in a way? So I use it like just to add to what I'm doing, but I'm not 100% reliant on it to do my job for me, which I think is a huge difference when you're just tweaking, playing around with it, exploring the possibilities of it, right?
I love that you said that because that's what we tell our clients. When they first come, they think it's about, okay, show me the AI, let me go to work. But
Yeah.
we often forget that it's a tool, and we're
Mm-hmm.
the ones that are learning how to use that tool for our benefit. So
Yeah.
it's all about us. And like you said, you use it for ways that are going to enhance something that's already in movement. And
Yeah.
most of the time when our clients come in, they don't even know their why. They don't know what their
Yeah.
brand story is. They don't know who their target audience is. They don't know their competitive advantage. They don't know any of this stuff. So if you
Yeah.
don't take that time to do the work and understand why you're doing it, yes, you may be successful in the short term, but you won't be successful in the long term. And if your story isn't about building a legacy or building something
Mm.
that then has gives something back to the world, and it's only about selling some energy drinks at that moment and then walking away with I don't know how much amount of money, then good for you, go for it, do it. But
Yeah.
this is where we all start to differentiate ourselves and say, this is what I want and this is how I'm going to use it. And I think it's wonderful the way you're using it, Sonia. That's the way it should be used, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned so much. I mean, I remember the day that I learned how to build my own custom GPTs. It was like game changer for me. And I was so excited about it. And I just took it to a whole new level. I have like a GPT for my to-do. And, I don't use apps for like my to-do lists anymore. Like I use AI for that because every morning I can get to the office and be like, here's everything that's on my schedule for today. Tell me what I missed yesterday from my to do list and give me everything that I need to do today. And it keeps track of it. And then at the end of the week, I can ask it, okay, how productive was I this week based on everything that I completed? And I remember the other week, I went to the end of the week and I was like, okay, tell me something like, how productive was I exactly this week? And AI was like, you did more work this week than a person would be able to do in 2 weeks. They're like, and the AI is like, you killed it. I'm like, wait, what? And then it gave me the list of everything that I did. And I'm like, wow, I got a lot done. But using the AI to do tool that I generated actually encouraged me to get more stuff done because I looked for that validation that it was giving me every time I finished a task. And I went in and put task complete, and it was like, yay, you got another thing done, you're doing it. And it made me want to get more and more done. It was crazy. And I was like, I really like this.
No, I love that you did this. I mean, I think that's so fascinating because it's so funny because I know, like, for example, with ChatGPT, if you do this kind of tasks where it tells you like what you've done, what you've accomplished, at the end of it, it will give you, ask you a question and say, would you like me to help you understand, or would you like me to
Yeah.
design a task, or would you like, so it keeps this momentum going. And this is where the creativity comes in. This is
Mm.
where we forget that actually we're all creating something.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So let's talk about DLISH for a little bit. It's a luxury gifting company focused on connection and storytelling. How has your experience with DLISH informed your work at BlueApples.ai, especially when it comes to creating meaningful experiences?
So, w- again, it goes back to the story, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we still want that emotional connection. Delish, you would think that they're two completely different worlds, but they're not, because the antithesis of AI is human connection. So,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen as we start to evolve more and more and more rapidly with AI? You see already this year more retreats popping up, more supper clubs, more gatherings. And with Delish, this is what we do. So our from our gift boxes to our multisensory experiences, tasting experiences, they are about the human connection. It's about bringing
Mm.
people together. With
Yeah.
AI, we're doing the same kind of thing while using AI as a tool. So we're helping you develop ways, whether if it's through our workshops or training courses, or through finding out what your story is, because it's that story that when you understand it for yourself, not a story that's fabricated that you say, okay, I'm creating wellness oils
Yeah.
because This is what the society needs today. Women are looking for it because they're in their menopause ages or whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
You say, you know what? This is why I am doing it. I started a gifting company because as an immigrant, I was bullied outside. When I came home, I felt safe. So this gathering brought influenced every aspect of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then here it is, the gifting company. I did Blue Apples because I was living a world of AI and how it's started to help me understand myself better, both as an entrepreneur, as a leader. We did this guide um, at the beginning of the year around the Jungian archetypes, Carl
Mm-hmm.
Jung and his archetypes, and using the tarot deck, and because that's what he used, and how leaders and entrepreneurs and executives or whoever they actually whoever really can use this process and tap into what the different aspects of ourselves, the different archetypes that we live, the personas. And once you understand this, you you feel more complete and you don't mind being vulnerable,
Mm.
because a lot of times our stories have to be vulnerable. So
Right.
I can sit, we don't have enough time, I'm sure, but I can tell you my story to
Right.
and take you on the journey of a child that was living what I was living as an Iranian who came to the United States during the period of 1979, 1980s, when it was a hostile period.
Yeah.
And so you talk about that, and so there's a vulnerability to it. You have to almost feel shameful that you lived what you lived. But then
Mm.
we forget that that's our superpower. That
Yeah.
vulnerability is our superpower. And so when you sit in front of ChatGPT or any LLM or any AI that you use, you have to feel like that story is coming out.
Mm.
Then once you have that story, you tell it, this is my story. Based on this, do this and this and that. So
Yeah.
that human connection is there. And here with the AI, you're also connecting on a human level
Yeah.
because you're with a human going through the process, but then the AI is almost like um, let's say a moderator, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love that because I feel like even for just writing, like I'm also an immigrant and English is not my first language. And I don't even pretend that I'm a writer, but I do have to write things for blog posts and things like that. And like I know what I want to say, I just don't know how to structure it properly, right? So I will use AI to write it out in my own way, which is like a rough draft, and then I'll have AI like put it all together, but it's my words, it's my writing. It's just sort of like creating a work, like a proper structure for it for me. But I still go back afterwards and fix it, making sure that it is authentic. Things that I'm doing and not just, telling I need an article on this and let it write the whole thing for me, right? Which is a huge difference. But you also mentioned a couple of things in what you were just saying, and authenticity is one that came to mind for me because right now, a big thing for marketing is being, having a founder of a company build a personal brand around their story, their life, and being authentic. And I don't like, so I want to talk about that a little bit because, like, if you're using AI to help you with your personal branding and explore that, how authentic is that going to be?
Uh, th- Actually, quite authentic. You'd be surprised how authentic it.
Yeah.
But see, this is where I come back to it. You can't. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
you can sit in front of an AI or any LLM and say one on one, back and forth. You might. I don't know. But again,
Yeah.
there's something that's missing. We're still not at that level where it has an emotional intelligence, and you
Yeah.
still need a human for that. So a
Yeah.
lot of times when we get the clients, the first thing that we do is, yes, your company has a brand story, but we need the founder's story. The founder has a reason why they started. You can go back to the earliest companies from Ford to Coca-Cola, and the founder has a story, and
Mm-hmm.
that story is what created the company. So they're
Yeah.
not mutually exclusive necessarily, so they have to come together. So we still have that individual that sits and asks the questions based on researched strategies, or let's say questions that will
Mhm.
help bring out those parts that maybe we don't really acknowledge,
Mhm.
almost psychological without really being therapeutical. So
Yeah.
it's this kind of discourse that you have, this conversation. And it's amazing the things that come out of it. So the personal brand, once again, you know your story, then it's very much fine. Then sit in front of the AI and do whatever you want with it. But at
Yeah.
least before, you have to have done the research. You have to have done the excavation to go back and understand why. I mean,
Yeah.
I promise you, um, if you sit and you ask all your guests, tell me in one sentence your why, they won't be
Mhm.
able to tell you, because it's not so easy. It's an elevator pitch that is about your story, your
Mhm.
why. And so that is something that I think comes with experience, comes with work, comes with courage, courage
Yeah.
to go deep.
I agree. So, what is your biggest challenge when working with clients and trying to get them to see the value in the integration?
Um, exactly this, what we talked about, to understand that you still need a human, that we're
Ah.
still not at that level where uh, you can do it on your own. So, just to give you an example, we had a client, we did their brand story, we did her brand story, and we did her company's brand story.
Mhm.
And she's an oil, beauty oil, wellness and
Okay.
beauty oil product. Um, and she was happy with everything, wonderful, wonderful. And then it came time to do her website. And she didn't want us to help her with the copy because she said, "Oh no, I don't worry about it. I can do it." And then she went ahead and I don't know how she did the website, but she did. And then she came back and said, "Listen, I need help with the copy for the products." And it's an e-commerce. So e-commerce, there is a way of writing. I mean, I have an e-commerce, so I've gone through this. It's not
Mhm.
for years I've been trying to figure out how to write so that they convert. And I work with agencies and the SEO and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we gave her a quote, and she didn't like the quote, the cost. And
Yeah.
she said, "Oh, but I could do this with ChatGPT, or this is so expensive. That's what you're going to use anyway."
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I said, "Okay, yes, you're absolutely right. But we are also professionals, and we outsource a lot of the stuff. We work with professionals that still know how to write so that it doesn't sound like every other product out there."
Mhm.
And so she chose not to do it for the cost, which is fine. And she went ahead and did it on her own. And you could see from the copy that was there from the products that it was not at all on first of all on brand. Second of all, no optimization whatsoever for search engines. And now we have to worry about also AI optimization.
Yeah.
It wasn't using any of that converting tone. And so I think after a few months, it wasn't even 6 months, she came back to us and said, "Listen, I want to try with this new promotion that I'm doing for you guys to write the copy for the product." And we did. And we sat down with her. And I even said to her, "Why don't we just teach you, or your assistant or your staff, whatever it is that you want? Why don't we
Mhm.
teach you how to use it so that it's effective? Not
Yeah.
that you just sit and say, 'Oh, write me this,' and then you say, 'Okay, let me copy and paste.'"
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you, and I think long term, I see a lot more AI tools coming out that it's AI tools that exist to review AI content.
Yeah.
And I think that's so funny because the other day I was talking to someone and they were like, well, things that you're using AI to write, are you verifying everything? And I'm like, verifying. They're like, well, I have this tool. It's an AI tool that basically reviews your content and tells you if it's been written by AI, because Google now is building all of these algorithms, and platforms are just trying to detect more AI written content. So now I'm like, oh, so there's an AI tool to review if something was done by AI. So it's only going to get bigger and bigger as we go. But yeah. So you talk about making things unforgettable. What's one lesson or mindset shift that's helped you create work that truly sticks with people?
Um, I think the biggest lesson, if I have to say that, hopefully, I don't know that it sticks with people, but I hope it does,
Mm-hmm.
is what I talked about before, which is about the vulnerability side. That I have found that when you stick uh, to the soul of your company or the soul of your business, it's inevitable that you're going to win. And
Mm,
win isn't necessarily, at least in my mind, yes, you're going to make the revenues, you're going to make the profits, all that is going to be there. The numbers are there. But that win is that satisfaction that you get. Because if you ask, most entrepreneurs will say the reason they start is because they love this process of creating,
mm,
of bringing something to life, whether it's product creation, service industry that grows,
yeah.
whatever it may be. It's that process that we love to bring something to life. And so I think it's that where you say, the more authentic and the more true you are to whatever that trigger was, that reason
Mm-hmm.
was that you started something, the more you're going to be remembered, the more you're going to shine. Listen, I know that when you stand up there, whether I'm a speaker or I'm on a podcast as a guest, or I'm talking to clients, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and no one is. But
Yeah.
there's a part of me that says I'm not necessarily doing it for that.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was, and I confess 100%, I was always coming from this place of desperation, this place of, I have to have it. Why is it not happening? I have to get there.
Mm,
This like internal race that you don't even know what you're racing on with. And then I would look at my outside competitors. I would look at people in my age group and I would say, oh my God, I should have stayed in finance. I should have stayed. I should have done that. Why did I do this? Now look where I am. All, all this, these negative talk that we do with ourselves, all these
mm-hmm.
limiting beliefs. And so at a certain point, you say, okay, you know what? And I don't know, I can't tell you, it's not instantaneous, it's not like a light switch, but
Mm-hmm.
it's this something that's happening under the surface, even on a subconscious level, that then one day you realize that you're not there anymore. Your energy has now uh, at a higher frequency, it's elevated, it's more in tune with your truth, your essence,
Yeah.
your reason for doing whatever it is that you're doing. And I think this applies to every single person and every aspect of life, not just
Yeah.
about a professional side. But then when you have that and you say, you know what, it no longer interests me what the other person is doing or what the other person thinks. I'm doing it because I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't have children, but I see mothers and their children, and I see my own mother. She never sits and worries about what other people are thinking about her children. They're her
Mm,
children, and she will present them with pride.
yeah.
And so it's that kind of a thing where before I was like, oh my God, everybody's going to judge Delish. What is it good enough? Is it not? This
Mm-hmm.
person said no, they don't want our services. They don't like it. Oh, it's ugly. It's this, it's that. And so I go down this rabbit hole. And then now I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I'm proud of
Yeah.
it. If this person doesn't like it, it's fine. It's not for them. The other person will.
Yeah. I love what you said, and I just want to add to that. Like, no founder or entrepreneur ever really goes into business with the mindset of, I'm going to build this and make $1 million in 3 months, right? Most there's some, but most are, they go into something that they're, number one, passionate about. So it's not necessarily about money. It's about, I really love this and I think I can do something with it. And so their mentality becomes, this is my child, and they become really proud of it. So it's hard to just, like, founders who are really passionate about their companies, they're passionate about it because it's their babies, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It is just that. And it's so funny you say that because I have a friend, she's a fellow entrepreneur, very successful. And she never married and she never had children, and she's much older now. And one time I asked her, I said, why do you love doing what you do?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and she, by the way, I have to say she like tried to have children. And so I said, why do you love doing what you do? And she said, because I love to create. And I
Mm,
think, well, and I said to her, well, don't you think that this is your child? And then she stopped and she paused and she even got tears in her eyes. And she said, you know what? You're absolutely right.
yeah.
That in a way, and like I said, I don't have children either. And
I don't either.
unlike her, I didn't want them, so I didn't like go after it
Yeah.
either. She did. But I can honestly say it's this giving life to something,
Yeah.
and it has that soul. Like I
Yeah.
have another friend that they sold their company, a very successful pajama company. They sold it, and she says the soul is gone. I
Oh,
don't even, she said, I don't even feel like being there anymore.
yeah, yeah.
So it's that kind of thing where I think just like you said, it's about a child. Like you're giving
Yeah.
birth to something, you're raising it, you're maybe then,
Creating it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly, dressing it up the way you like,
Giving
everything.
birth to it,
Exactly. And that
essentially, right?
process, even the pain that you go through giving
Yeah,
birth
it's
to it.
painful. And
Totally.
then you get to watch it grow and pivot, and maybe you sell it. It's just like the child moving away. I think
Exactly.
we're onto something here. Well, we're coming up on time, but before we wrap up, I want to ask you one last question. For founders who feel overwhelmed, whether it's tech or anything else, or disconnected from their own creativity, what would you say to help them find clarity and reconnect with their vision?
I think to step back, to take and I know this sounds so cliche. I
Mm,
don't mean go and like meditate or do a retreat or do team building. I don't mean any of that stuff. I just mean, like, for me, I can tell you there are days where I sit in front of the computer and I'm absolutely blocked.
me too.
And it's horrible, right? And
Yes.
so the only thing that helps me is I sit on the sofa and I watch a series on Netflix, or I binge
Okay.
watch, or I do something like that. And I just say, you know what? And I say it with 100% honesty to myself. It's okay. You take
Yeah.
this moment. It's almost like a recharge. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think each one of us have to find our way. Maybe it's going for a drink, going for an exhibition, I don't know, a retreat, a meditation, a walk in the park. I don't know. But
Mm,
give yourself permission, because I think that's something where we struggle with, especially as solopreneurs, as anyone that's building something, where we say, "Oh no, I'm
yeah.
behind. I can't stop doing it." But it's actually the opposite. If you take that moment, there's a study that was done that was saying that kids that study after I forget how much, after like every hour or every 45 minutes, take a 10-minute break, do something
Mm,
like play on video games, do something, go on social media, whatever it is, and then go back to your studies. It's almost like taking the brain and giving it a little bit of a shock and
yeah.
then putting it back in there. And you
I
see that
agree.
it's like if
Yeah.
you work out, when you do weights, they say take a little rest and then do the
Yeah.
weight again. It's the same kind of thing, but I think each person has to give themselves first and foremost permission to do this,
Yeah.
and then find out what it is that's going to not make them feel guilty that they're doing it.
Yeah, I love that because like I had a product that we had a team and I had started building, and then it kind of failed, and that I lost that team, and I had a choice: go at it alone as the solo founder, or or continue the way we were going. And I took a step back, and the step back that I took was, I need to sort of regroup. I need to figure out, like, is this product viable? Is there a market for it? And if there is, what do I really need to do with it, versus just picking up where that team left off and continuing with it and it going nowhere, right? But taking that step back and asking those questions really allowed me to identify that, hey, you need to rebuild this product with this purpose in mind, and you need to go down this path, and this is the market that you really want based on the failures from prior. But just taking that step back, just asking those small questions, just waiting a little bit before restarting, really set us on a good trajectory, right? But if I hadn't done that, nothing would have, it would have been like beating a dead horse, right? Just trying to continue. And I do think a lot of people do that because it's like, we've invested so much time and money, we cannot fail now. But taking a step back, like you said, doesn't necessarily mean that you're failing. It just means you're giving your brain a little bit of time to sort of refocus and figure out where to restart in a way.
Exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
this is exactly what I mean. It's just about you're not lazy, you're not giving up, you're not doing any of that stuff. And for a long time, I know personally I suffered with that, the guilt.
Yeah.
And once you give yourself permission and you say, no, actually, this is productive,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to realize how important it is and how actually it impacts then the next phase of whatever it is that you're building.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Mona, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. I love learning from other people, and I always walk away from these episodes with like so much more knowledge. I feel like by the time I'm like in my fifth season, I'm going to be like a wisdom of knowledge walking around.
No, Sonia, thank you so much for having me on. Really, I enjoyed talking to you. You're
Yeah,
very,
me
very
too.
fascinating and very stimulating conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. I want to thank Mona for joining me today and sharing such a rich, soulful perspective of the future and creativity of business. Her reminder that we don't have to choose between innovation and intuition, that the magic is often in the blend, is something every founder can take to heart. If you're feeling stuck or burnt out, Mona's approach invites you to slow down, get curious, and reconnect with your deeper why. And that's a wrap. To our listeners, thank you for joining me on this journey of learning, growth, and inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and connect with our community on social media. I'd love to hear your feedback, so leave a review and let me know what topics you'd want to explore in future episodes. Remember, the future belongs to those who embrace challenges, adapt with tenacity, and keep pushing forward. Keep growing, keep pivoting, and most importantly, stay tenacious in your pursuits. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to bringing you more insightful conversations in our upcoming episodes. This is Sonia signing off, but as always, keep chasing your dreams with tenacity.